BFF Report. I'm your host, Mike aka Phony. Today we're talking about Hi-Rez's SMITE. This is their new third-person MOBA style game that's probably going to be a little controversial for some because it's kind of taking a little bit from everywhere. So let's take a look. Now, I'm not entirely sure exactly where to start on this because there's really not a lot for me to show you guys. I can sum it up by saying, yeah, they took the best of both worlds here, the MOBA genre and the MMO genre. They just combined the two. It feels like you're playing an MMO, but the action all feels like a MOBA. And to be more specific, it feels like Bloodline Champions more than it does, say, League of Legends or Dota 2 or anything, in that every shot is a skill shot. Oh. But before we get there, we should talk a little bit about who you're playing as. Now, SMITE is all about the gods. Now, not everybody here, I guess, is technically a god. They're just gonna call them gods, right? Some of them, they maybe didn't quite make that status, but sure, why not? Let's just say that these are all characters who represent what I think we would all consider, or the majority would consider, to be dead beliefs. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is because I'm pretty sure somebody out there is going to be like, oh, hey, where's my Muhammad God? Where's my Jesus God? And I say God in the sense that that's what these characters are called in the game. Yes, I know that blah, 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 blah. I'm not trying to get into some kind of religious dispute. I'm trying to talk about a video game. I'm just telling you what you're not going to see in it. Nobody Jesus, all right? Now, you've been watching me click around in the God browser here. You see that some of these things are locked. Now, it's pretty obvious to most of you, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. You have to pay to unlock these, but there's two ways to pay. You could buy gems from Hi-Rez. You could buy their in-game currency and spend it on unlocking a character, and then later on unlocking skins, and later on probably unlocking other things. Or you could turn around and play the game and earn favor. Every time I've leveled, I've gained 1,000 favor. But the rate at which I've been leveling will probably decrease as you get higher up, which would mean the rate of favor earned per, hour or whatever will also decrease. So what I can tell you is to unlock my first god, it took me about an hour and a half, 2 hours of gameplay, which equates to about, like maybe 5-6 matches. But I can't speak to anything beyond that because, again, the rate at which I earned favor may change, or Hi-Rez may decide to change the amount that you earn per level or per match or whatever. Now, obviously, the game is still in beta, so there's a lot of things kind of up in the air right now. So you're gonna spend money on skins and gods and all that stuff, but one thing that I want to point out is that the gods here, because of the game and how it's set up, when you buy a skin for SMITE, you can actually see the skin. You can actually make out the details of the skin. The character will move and such, and you'll see, oh, hey, I can see the skin that I purchased in action and the details and all of that stuff. I just wanted to point that out. Now let's get into some of the good stuff. Yeah, so the goals here are, again, very similar to what you'd see in other MOBA games, where you have a map, you have 3 lanes, you have towers, and then you have mini bosses at the end and a boss at the end you have to kill. Well, actually, in this case, it's a minotaur, and in other games, it's like a building or something. And then, of course, there's a jungling area in between the different lanes that you can move through, and then, of course, there are little mobs in that you could kill and get buffs for your entire team. It's pretty much standard stuff. What's not standard is the way the game plays. In most third-person point of view games, whenever you move backwards, you typically move slower. In this game, anytime you move anywhere but forward, you lose speed. So the game is teaching you to look straight forward all the time. It wants you to keep your focus where your camera's pointing at all times. On top of this, you can't actually stand there and rotate your camera around. Whenever you go to look behind you, you're actually rotating your character to face that direction. This is intentional and takes a little bit of getting used to. Because let's say you are running away from somebody and you know that you guys both have maybe the same movement speed, and so you're able to keep your distance on him. You can hear him back there shooting arrows or whatever. And then you turn around really quick to see where he's at, and guess what? You just lost speed, even though you are still moving in the same direction, because let's say you, instead of holding W, as you rotate really fast, you switch to S and D so you can keep moving in the same direction. You're still moving slower than if you were just holding down W and facing forward. Now, this slight departure from what I guess we could consider to be the norm when playing this style of third-person game is going to infuriate a lot of people because we're used to being able to look behind us while we're running at the very minimum, right? But once you learn to adapt to this, you start doing this weird, and I started doing it, and I think probably everybody's gonna be doing it. You're constantly flipping your mouse to the right really quick so you can look behind you without losing too much forward momentum. And that has gotta be annoying for anybody, let's say, watching the stream, right? Like, you're just flipping your mouse really quick to look behind you, and let's say maybe you missed it and you weren't quite sure if you saw somebody, so you flip it again. It's just an interesting change that I definitely feel people need to know before jumping into this. Seriously though, it takes like 2 minutes to get used to it. Now also concerning movements, there is collision between not just you and other players, but you and enemy creeps. But you and friendly creeps, there's no collision there. Now also regarding creeps, there's no denying. I know some people, they like to deny and all that stuff. You can't do that. You can't kill your own guys. I've tried, it doesn't work out. And it kind of makes sense whenever you have a skill-based game where you actually could be throwing crazy spells all over the place. You could accidentally wipe your entire creep line. So we've covered combat, we've covered movement. Let's talk a little bit about animations. These spell animations, all that stuff, they're top-notch. They really are. Some of the animations for the characters that are bipeds, where they're actually walking on the ground, like more humanoid-esque characters, their movement and animations can feel a little disjointed. Take a look at Kali here. Whenever she moves side to side or moves in any direction, there's no lean. She's always facing forward because that's where the camera forces your character to face. You could never really turn your character around to see the front side. But anytime you move side to side, it feels as if it's like the bottom half is disconnected from the top half. And those of you guys who pay attention to early SWTOR videos when they were talking about it, dev videos and all that, we saw it there too. It just felt really, really disjointed. Now, I don't know if there's better animations coming, because all the rest of the animations are hilarious. They're so good. All the menu options, they all have different animations, and whenever you have a victory dance and all that stuff, there's just so many great animations. I can't imagine that they're going to leave this like this. There's no lean. If I'm gonna be strafing side to side, there should be some kind of lean or something. But there's nothing. She just moves like a lawn dart on a unicycle. Now, I want to remind everybody once again that it is beta, and some of these things can change later on. Other characters don't really have this issue. When you're moving around with them, they don't really feel like that. And then, of course, the ones that float, what are they going to lean while they're floating? That doesn't really make any sense. I mean, why would they lean and not their grounded counterparts? That'd be kind of, oh. All we can say is that it's beta, and of course, feedback is probably greatly appreciated from them. Simple changes make them lean. That's all I want. I just want to lean, put my knee down while I'm turning and stuff. That's all. So I guess it would make sense for me to discuss how a typical match would go, right? Even though a lot of us have already done this before, just in case there's someone out there who has never ever played a single MOBA in their life. Here's what happens. You go through a selection process. It's a very standard selection process. You pick your character, and then everybody else picks their character, right? Then you go into the game, and then immediately you open up the store and you buy something, whatever it is that your character needs. Alternatively, if you are new, then you can just turn on the auto loot and the auto store purchases, and it will actually take care of everything for you. It may not be exactly what you need for the type of build that you may want, but at least it's a start so you can focus on combat first. We take a look around here, this is your base. If the bad guys get in here, you're probably not gonna win this one, to be honest. That Minotaur will come alive and start swinging like crazy, and they can kite them out to the edges of the room, sometimes even further, but your goal is to get into their room on their side and kill their Minotaur. So then you gotta decide if you're gonna go mid, if you're gonna go left, if you're gonna go right. You gotta pick your lane, and then you gotta move all the way to the front, and then you gotta stand there and stare at the other guy until the match actually starts, and it's gonna spawn creeps. The creeps are gonna move towards each other. If there was no interference from players at all, then the creeps would just continually kill each other and just go back and forth in the middle. The players are the ones who offset this balance by intervening using skills and abilities. That's the whole point of these types of games. Your goal is to make it past those towers, kill this Phoenix, and then kill their Minotaur, and that's it, game over. After that, you reap the rewards, you do a little funny dance, you gain a level, maybe you get some currency you can spend on the cash shop, all that stuff, and that's pretty much it. So there's really not a whole lot more for me to show you guys. We've already covered pretty much everything that is, I guess, major, right? I mean, it has a cash shop, and it's gonna be free to play, and it's by Hi-Rez, who made Tribes. Tribes is awesome. It's in beta, you get beta keys pretty much anywhere, or you could go ahead and spend $7.99 on some gems, and that will give you beta access. But for some bonus stuff, you know, when I was streaming this, I wanted to mention it. I actually made a note. I want to mention this. It actually streams really, really well. And I know that may not seem like a big deal to some of you, but a lot of people stream. I mean, Twitch is just loaded with all kinds of people trying to stream stuff. And what sucks is whenever you try to load up a game and stream and you find out that you can't maybe play the game and stream at the same time without there being some kind of latency or messing up your gameplay or whatever. This game streams like a champion. It streams just as good as, say, World of Warcraft, which is great because that means pretty much anybody can stream this with no issues whatsoever. All right, so I said at the beginning that I really didn't know where to start because there wasn't a whole lot to show you, and then I showed you like 8 minutes worth of stuff. I'm so happy. But the point is that I think a lot of you guys who watch my show you're either playing an MMO or you're playing a MOBA. There's not a whole lot of you guys that are in between. So this tells me that majority of you guys are already gonna know what you're getting into just playing this game. So I'm curious to see what your feedback is, because this is something new. It is a little controversial. As I was streaming it, I saw a lot of off comments, people saying, you know, oh, it's ripping off League of Legends, which is hilarious, right? Some people just are not comfortable with the way that it looks or the way that it feels, because it's not something that they've done before. We've not seen this. Now, I did not mention Super Monday Night Combat during the BFF report, but I do want to mention that this is not like the first time this has ever been done. Yes, Monday Night Combat's been around. It does have this style of gameplay. It is an awesome game, but this, I feel, is a little bit closer to what you guys are probably used to, which means it's gonna resonate better. So, let me know in the comments below. Of course, hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, all of them, aka Mike B. Let me know what your thoughts are, and have yourselves a wonderful rest of the week.